Welcome to another episode of It's All Mental. My name is Asiat, and here we only talk about things that have to do with mental health, your emotions, your feelings, anything that is currently disturbing you and it is causing you to find that you get mental health related challenges. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about men and mental health. Often in time, people say that, hey, you're always talking about women, children. How about us, the men? Well, this day is for the men, but also we women, we are going to be involved in this conversation so that we can let the men feel that they are supported and we care about their mental health. And I have a guest with me. His name is called Ssazi, and he's going to introduce himself more to tell us more about his background.
Okay, good to be here again. Ronald Ssazi, a clinical psychologist, a pastor, a leadership facilitator. It's all mental.
Yes, it's all mental. It's a good one to use because everything we are doing, it's mainly about the way we are thinking. Yeah, it's all mental. And back to the conversation, men and mental health. Ssazi, good enough you are here and you're a man. Could you tell us more about men and mental health? I hear that June is a month that is dedicated to the men and their mental health. Could you kindly share more about men?
Okay, men and mental health. It's a good topic, very interesting, that we need to give attention. One, I would say, in so many times, men are neglected in so many things. And I think that comes from a place where females at a certain point were so neglected, and when advocates came up, everyone started advocating for females. Now it's time for us to advocate for the men, especially when it comes to mental health, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, men, when we talk about these men, would you kindly share more about the mental health challenges that the men face? Could you kindly share more about them so that we can dive into them?
Okay, majorly, I would say the main mental illnesses, challenges that men face, we would say depression, talk about anxiety, talk about drug abuse and addictions, and then post-traumatic stress disorder. Those are the commonest that men experience. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, and then substance abuse, drug or substance abuse,
yes,
and addictions.
Why do you think these are the most common in men and they are not more witnessed in the women?
For example, talking about substance abuse and drugs, which is not so common in women as it is in men, is because so many men use it as a coping mechanism.
True.
So, being a coping mechanism, which is a wrong coping mechanism, men tend to use it so often than women. Women have some other coping mechanisms than drugs. But also, when it comes to drugs or substance abuse, men tend to learn these behaviors early in life than women do. As men tend to socialize, their peer pressure is too much for men to use drugs than women. That's why you find a cigar is easy for a boy. It's very easy for a boy to take a cigar in his peer with his peers than it is for the girls. So boys tend to learn to use these substances early in life than girls do, and so that explains the problems.
Okay, so that means that it is from the background of growing up.
Exactly.
From being a boy, now growing up into a man. Do you think these are the things that influence men to start using substances?
Yeah, there are quite many things that influence substance abuse among men. And one of them are the social pressures pressed upon them, the peer pressure, with other people, the peers, like how are you a man? How do you fit in this group without using this? So it leads to that. Yeah.
So most of the times you would say that because the men have that they call it man cave. They have that tribe or something.
Yeah, the tribe.
Because I want to fit in. These are my guys. They call them my boys.
Yes.
I want to because we have to go for a football match. We are going for this activity for me to fit in, so that I can be in position to be called part of them.
Yeah.
To be their guy, I have to be in position to use these drugs. So you mean that because of that pressure that I may be having, it can cause me to find that I am starting to abuse the drugs that probably I wouldn't have used if I was not part of this group.
Yeah, very true, very true. Social pressures, peer pressures are quite high for men than it is for females. But also male social activities, they tend to get involved in so many of those than the women. Female social activities are quite simple, so you don't find them engaging in so many of such drugs. But male social activities tend to involve such activities.
You have to drink, you have to do this
exactly
in order for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, I can imagine. Also, you've talked about men having challenges with depression. Can you talk about that part of depression? What happens? What brings all that about?
So, depression. Men tend to get depressed majorly because we are socialized in a way that we do not talk about issues. By the time someone gets depressed, so many things have been happening. And these are bottled inside of them. They are not talking about them. So gradually, as they keep piling and piling and piling, you find that someone gets depressed because they were not able to vent of whatever was going on in their lives. They didn't vent, so it's now too much for them and they are getting depressed.
Remember, they tell the men man up. They're using those words. So for me to man up, I keep all my worries to myself.
Exactly. We have been nurtured or socialized in that way to man up. Men do not cry. You grow up people telling you men do not cry. You're a man. No, that's a young boy of 3 years. They're telling him, men do not cry, man up. You're a man. And so that kind of socialization leads you to always pile up things instead of venting out. So you keep them at your heart, and that's what I call toxic masculinity, as I even said about it the other time. Masculinity in its essence should be someone portraying strength, and then assertiveness, which is the greatest skill every man needs, where you're able to express your emotions, your feelings, but without hurting other people's feelings. But when it comes to the masculinity that is being nurtured now or in our cultures, is very toxic, where you do not have to display emotions. Meanwhile, you are suffering, you're having hardships, you're having pain, but you're not allowed to display your pain or to display the feelings about the pain,
because it will show that you are weak.
It is taken to being weak, which is not right. We need to start seeing masculinity as being assertive. I'm able to talk about my feelings as long as I'm not hurting other people's feelings.
Where I talk about how I am feeling sad of late, how I have lost my job, how my relationship is not working out. Yeah. That is what you mean, that men should start talking about these kinds of issues when they are having challenges.
Exactly.
Okay, you also talked about post-traumatic stress disorder. How does this come in terms of men? Okay,
men tend to have the biggest burden of financial responsibilities upon them. So you find men are running out, they are taking on risky activities, risky jobs. And so because of their the nature of their financial responsibilities, and probably also the way we have been nurtured, you will find a man taking on more risky behaviors, more risky activities than women. And so all those activities, all those responsibilities come with traumatic events in so many times. You look at the army. When we look here, probably like in our country, Uganda, I don't know the percentages, but the highest percentage of the soldiers are what? Are men. So the traumas that are experienced by men are more than the traumas that are experienced by women, and so that explains why.
Because you have mentioned that there is a lot of trauma, meaning that when they go to, when they get involved in these kinds of activities or jobs where they have to get involved in war, where they have to express themselves through all that, you mean that this affects them in a way that they tend to see that their mental health is affected?
Exactly. Any traumatic experience would lead to a problem. It will lead to a problem, and that's what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. For example, you go through an experience that is very, very bad. Later in life, memories start coming back. And
you get
so
flashbacks.
The stress that comes with all that is a big mental problem. And that's what we call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Meaning that we have talked about the fact that men are involved more in these activities. Like I am a soldier right now. I find myself that I am always going to war. We see where Uganda gets to deploy people to go and act in certain countries where the war is, and we find that when they come back, they get flashbacks of what happened during the war when things were not working out, and someone is reliving those memories that they once experienced during that time of the war where they were. Also, we have seen that men get accidents in the jobs that they tend to have. You see that one has lost their arm, they have lost their limbs, and it is a traumatic event that they have gone through, and every now and then they get those flashbacks that affect them in the long run.
Yes.
Okay, you've also talked about the other challenge. Which one was it? The mental health challenge that men get to experience.
So we talked about anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, and still, I will also get back to the financial responsibilities, the social responsibilities that are placed onto men. So someone has so many demands. The children are asking for school fees. The wife back home is asking for home substances. There is no food, there is no this, there is no
rent,
what.
Your landlord.
The landlord is knocking on the door. So all that gets a man anxious. Every time he returns home, he wants to return very late and leave very early in the morning because he doesn't want the landlord to come
and find him
when
there.
He's there. Yeah. So all those social pressures lead to the anxiety, and so a man starts living a life where he is on edge. He does not know what he's going to feed his family with tomorrow. Meanwhile, he has come to work, but he does not know what they're going to eat tomorrow. So he is very anxious. He's placed in a room, and he's on edge. He's on the wall. He does not see any other option for life. Yeah.
Okay, we have seen this happening, and we have seen that men are challenged with depression, like you've said, post-traumatic stress disorder. You've also talked about substance abuse. Well, as we do you think that men have been really approaching service providers to get this support? Do you think they are willing to take on their services when they have these challenges?
Frankly, we can agree that as men, our healthy-seeking behaviors are very low.
Okay.
Very, very low, and that's a problem that we have. So if we are to recommend anything, we need to ask men to increase their healthy-seeking behaviors. Yeah. So I would say men have not been seeking support as needed. And that's why you see that suicides are more common in men than in women. Just because we do not seek support, we do not seek help. Even if it's going to hospital, leave alone the mental health, even if it's a physical illness, men will wait when it is worse for them to go to hospital. They think going to work is better than going to hospital until they are really down. Yeah, so we need to improve on that as men.
Okay, so you've worked with these men, especially because there is a certain percentage that seek for help, and they come to you, Ronald, and they're like, yeah, Ronald, this is what I'm facing, and you get to diagnose them, and then you give them the support. But I've also seen how men, because you've talked about their busy schedules, they tend to be so busy. I've also witnessed that time where I had clients, but these clients, most of the time we had to shift our sessions. The session is supposed to be there in the morning, but before you know it, someone is calling you and they're like, Asia, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it. You know, my boss, I'm trying to, this deal. Okay, everything is on their plate, but they want to seek for this support, but also the timeline. So how do you think these service providers, because there is a small margin of people who are seeking for this support, but that small margin also is not even getting the sufficient support that they can. What do you think we, the service providers, should do in order to support these men who are having this busy schedule? They are chasing for money to be able to feed their families. What do you think we can do in order to support this generation of men who are seeking for support?
Truthfully speaking, it's very true. Men are always on the run. We are always on the run. They are calling you for this. You think you should go for this deal. You think you got to be here. You got to be the other side. So sometimes you feel like it's costly for you to go for a therapy session, which isn't right, but that's how life is. Now, I would suggest flex hours in therapy. Being malleable as service providers to the people that we are supporting is very important. For example, if I have a client who is not able to do daytime, is it possible for me as a service provider, as a therapist, to create time in the evening for my patient and see them later? Yeah.
Okay. And also I have seen that when we are talking about men, often in time, because you said earlier on we have just started, that very many organizations are looking at women. Earlier on, before we started the podcast, we were talking about feminism, and now we want to see most of the organizations are coming in to support women and their initiatives, their cause. And so how do you think, are there organizations that are really looking at men? What do you call upon the society and government to see that men who are also facing these challenges, because we have seen there is a big rise of suicide that is coming in from the men's side. That means that it is an alarm that is calling for support.
Yeah, I think there are a few, but we have for sure neglected the men. We have for sure neglected the men. So it would be a recommendation that many other stakeholders, many other partners, many other organizations, government institutions should also now target the men. Men should be our target population now, because we see what is happening. But also, as masculinity, one of the characteristics of masculinity is independency and leadership. So we want to assume that in most families, men are leading the families.
Yes.
So if we neglect the head, the entire family is going to suffer. So I would suggest that organizations come up to support the men. If you want to support women well, better support the men. If you want to support children well, better support their fathers. Yeah. So we need to come up.
That means that if a man is supported, if a father is supported, it means that they are going to be in position, their functionality is going to improve, they are going to work well, they are going to be in position to even relate well with their family members, their children, and we are helping a whole sum.
Exactly. A mentally healthy man will not neglect his responsibilities. He will not leave his family and run away. So there is going to be family mental health if there is men mental health.
And this will contribute to the entire community.
Exactly.
And country at large.
Exactly.
So meaning that us supporting the mental health of the men, we are supporting their entire community, where these men can be in position to contribute to their environments. They can be in position to contribute towards their work, their family, themselves as well, and the entire world at large.
That's very true. Me and you know it very well that we for a long time we have supported women, but we have also realized that they are going to always relapse because most of their triggers are attached to their men. You see?
Yes.
So the best way to support these women is also to support the men. And we've had so many female clients who tell us, you're helping me, but
what about my husband?
About my husband.
Yes, for me I have this information. What about him?
Exactly. And we're like, no, we are only working with the females. I think it's high time men become a big priority for us also.
Okay, because at the end of the day, when women are supported, men are supported, we are supporting everyone at large.
Yeah.
And we are going to have a community where everyone is having that mental health resilience. They can be in position to support themselves when challenges come in place. They know what to do when problems come in place. They know how to survive. They know how to react. Because often in time, men are, like you've said, most of the times they show aggressiveness. They have those outbursts because they don't know how to deal with these challenges. And for a man who is out there right now, which words do you want to leave on to them, Ronald? Even you as a woman who's there, what do you think they should be in position to do at this point?
Okay. So, fellow men, these are words from your fellow man.
Yes.
One, we need to deal with the culture of toxic masculinity. Being open, talking about things is not weakness. Talking about things is actually strength. We need to start to open up. We need to build a tribe where we are able to come, maybe together as men, and talk about the issues that we experience. It is very important. Number 2, seeking professional help is not for women. It's not for women. Going to hospital is not for women. Going for therapy is not for women. It is for us too. We have a mind, we have a brain, and so we suffer from these things. Matter of fact, we have so many things that can get us mentally ill than the females probably. So we need to make sure we are caring for our mental health. Having people to talk to, your social network is very, very important. So many times we have soaked ourselves in work, and it has become a problem. So find time to network with other people and build a good social network. It will help you to stay mentally healthy.
Okay, thank you so much, Ronald, for those wonderful words. I believe anyone who is here and is listening, I think these words have moved you. I think they have really spoken to you. And we want to thank you for staying all this time with us, being able to listen. Kindly comment, kindly share your story. Are you going through some of these mental health related challenges that we have talked about that men are facing? Or is it you who has a relative who is facing some of these challenges and you feel like they need to really listen to this? Kindly share this podcast and let them listen to this. Let them seek for support. You can also be able to support them through listening, through showing them that empathy that they need at that particular time when they're struggling. And more of these conversations are coming to you in this podcast. It's All Mental, and my name is Asiat.